There's a lot of stories in the Bible that I find very fascinating, and we're going to be looking at one of them today. There's a lot of people, characters that the Bible talks about, and some of them are maybe 2 verses, like the story of Jabez is only 2 verses. If you sneeze, you'll miss it, okay? It's only a prayer, but that prayer is very profound. There's also the story of the widow of Zarephath, for an example, whereby God sent Elijah to go stay with her, and again a few chapters and it's gone. You also have the story of maybe Cornelius. Okay, Peter went to his house and everybody got saved. So these characters just go in and out, and I think God is giving us different examples of different types of people that we can learn from. And like I said, we're going to be learning from an interesting person to me anyway, called Obed-Edom today. How many people are familiar with the story of Obed-Edom? Okay, so he's not a character that is very popular, but I think that it goes to show how God works. How God works in mysterious ways. Mm-hmm. Okay, because his story is buried in 1 Samuel, 2 Samuel, and also is repeated in the Chronicles. So, but I would like to kind of, I have to paint the picture for you to appreciate the story. So I'm going to kind of start from something that is totally unrelated and then come back to the incident that changed his life. One incident changed his life, totally, completely. And he has if you look at it, he didn't control that incident. So again, you look at it and say, it's power of God. And the pastor will say that you don't know your day of your showing, okay? But you have to constantly prepare yourself for that day of showing. And you will see that this is a very good example of that. And let's start from the beginning. Okay, we read this story during the Bible reading, okay? And I'm going to read a shorter version of it so that we can all kind of have a feel for what the story is all about. So this story I'm going to read the one in 2 Samuel. So in 2 Samuel 6, 1 through 15. 2 Samuel 6, 1 through 15, it says, Then David mobilized 30,000 special troops and led them to Baal, Judah, to bring home the ark of God of heaven, who is enthroned above the guardian angels. The ark was placed on a new cart and taken from the hillside home of Abinadab. It was driven by Abinadab's son Uzzah and Ahio. Ahio was in front and followed by David and the other elders, who were joyously waving branches of juniper trees and playing every sort of musical instrument before the Lord, lyres, harps, tambourine, castanets, and cymbals. But when they arrived at the threshing floor of Nacon, the oxen stumbled, and Uzzah put his hand to steady the ark. Then the anger of the Lord flared out against Uzzah, and he killed him for doing this. So he died there beside the ark. Terrible, right? David was angry with what the Lord has done, and they named this spot, the place the wrath was upon Uzzah, which is still called to this day. David was also afraid of the Lord and asked, how can I ever bring the ark home? So he decided against taking it to the city of David, but he carried it instead to the home of Obed-Edom, who has come from Gath. He remained there for 3 months, and the Lord blessed Obed-Edom and also all his household. Mm-hmm. May the Lord bless the reading and hearing of his holy word. Amen. So it's a very strange story, but it kind of started out with the Ark of the Covenant. And what is the Ark of the Covenant? The Ark of the Covenant was something that God asked Moses to build. And the Ark of the Covenant was basically a box, or special wood. Or they use the acacia wood to build it. And inside the ark was the 2 tablets that God inscribed the 10 commandments on, and then also like a jar that contains manna, which was what God fed them while they were in the wilderness, and also the rod of Aaron that mysteriously boarded. Okay, it was that mysteriously boarded anyway was also in there. Right? So on top of the box, I guess above the lid is what is called a mercy seat. Okay, on that mercy seat is basically a tablet of gold. Okay, it's all gold. And then on top of that mercy seat, you have the two cherubims with their. I was going to show a picture, but anyway. But it's kind of interesting to look at. And of course, it was all, gold inside, gold outside, very shiny and all that. So at this particular point, the ark has been sitting in somebody's house for about, some people say 40 years, some people say 70 years or so. And the reason why the ark was sitting there was because of the fact that King Saul was more interested in killing David than worried about how the people are worshiping God. So he was more interested in that and chasing David all around. So the ark was basically sitting somewhere in the house of one of his sons. Okay, and he sat there for a very, very long time. But over time, of course, the war was the battle between David and Saul was consuming everybody's attention. Not only that, there's some priests that were in the temple where the ark was taken from. Actually, just a very quick, brief history about what happened to the ark. Okay, remember Eli, right? Eli, the priest. Okay, he was the high priest at that particular point. So the Israelites went to fight with the Philistines. So the Israelites were losing, so they decided that, okay, maybe we need to go get the ark. Once we get the ark and get the ark to the battlefront, we'll win. So when everybody heard that, okay, the ark is coming, okay, the ark of the covenant is coming, everybody shouted and said, yes, we're going to win. So the Philistines were thinking that, oh, now we're in trouble. But unfortunately, they forgot, okay, God is already left. The ark is just a box there. Okay? And one of the lessons from that, of course, is the fact that if you don't have a relationship with God, don't expect Him to answer your prayer. Okay? Because He can answer you. I'm not saying that He won't answer your prayer. I'm just saying that the expectation shouldn't be high because you don't have a relationship. God is very merciful. He can answer anybody's prayer if He wants to. Okay? But if we don't have a relationship with God, a very strong relationship with God, don't expect unless you come back and repent and then establish that relationship again. The expectation is the fact that you already broken that relationship. So anyway, they've already broken the relationship. So the Ark of the Covenant was basically a box. So the Philistines captured the Ark of the Covenant and they thought, yay, our God is greater than the God of Israel. So unfortunately for them, they took it to the house of the God. You know what happened anyway. The Ark of the Covenant became a problem for them. And I'm going to go into the gory details, but it basically messed up their gods, okay? They fell down, okay? Broke the head, broke the arms, okay? So they decided that we'll take it from city to city. Every city that he went to, they got, they were plagued. There is a boil all over everybody's. And they decided that, okay, this Ark of the Covenant is a problem, we have to take it back. So they decided to take it back, all right? And then he went, but when he came back to Israel now, again, with all the fighting going on, nobody paid a lot of attention to it. So he ended up in the house of Obed-Edom that we were talking about, or that we read about. And it was been sitting there for a very long time. Now, one of the things, of course, is that with everything that God does, there's a lot of rules and regulation that goes with it. God is not the author of chaos, okay? So he already told them, okay, how you are supposed to handle that Ark of the Covenant, okay? Specific instructions, okay? That ark is like you standing in front of God. And therefore, the only place they kept it in the tabernacle is in the holies of holies. And you also know that not everybody can go there. It's only the high priest, and the only high priest only goes there once a year. So with this ark now, and then of course, like he also told them that if you need to move it, okay, only the Levites, only a particular group of Levites can move it, and they have to do it in a particular way. They have to carry it. Okay, they have to carry it with there's a sticks. I mean, there's a handle, a very long handle that is with it. Okay, so they have to carry with that handle. Okay, so all the things that they were supposed to do to get ready for moving this ark, David forgot. Okay, there was no really structure for the priests at that particular point, because they were there's one particular incident that some of the priests, when David was hungry. Okay, and I know maybe some of you would recall this story. He ran to the Shiloh, where they have the temple, the tabernacle temple at that particular point, and he was hungry. And there's a showbread that only priests are supposed to eat that was sitting there. So he asked the priest to say, "Okay, we're hungry. Can we have some bread?" so the priest gave it to him, but unfortunately for the priest, Saul heard about it, that they were siding with David, and he ended up slaughtering a lot of the priests at that particular, people that worked in the temple at that time. Why am I telling you all this story? I'm going somewhere, so stay with me. Okay, but the whole idea is the fact that this Ark of the Covenant was like a presence of God. If you're standing in front of that ark, it's like you're standing in the presence of God. So you can't just treat it anyhow. There's certain rules and regulations that you have to obey. One of the other things that I also want to point out about this ark is not something that is very light to carry. Some people estimated that the weight of that ark is about 500 pounds. Okay, so it's not something that is easy to carry. The mercy seat alone, which is the lead that the cherubim are on, is made out of solid gold, and that one alone, they said, is about 100 pounds. So carrying that thing is not something that is easy to carry, and there's a reason why it has to be done in a particular way, and it has to have the blessings of God, because even 4 people that usually carry 500 pounds is not easy. They need the mercy of God to be able to move it around. So again, like I said, this ark at this particular time, because of all the mess that is going on in Israel, was sitting at the house of this Abinadab. And now that they finally decided to say that, okay, David is going to become king. So now David is now trying to unite the whole country together. And he, of course, at that particular time, has secured Jerusalem as his capital. It used to be in Hebron, but now he fought the Jebusites. Again, a lot of history, okay, but he fought the Jebusites and he won, and then he moved his headquarters to Jerusalem, and now he wants to move the Ark of the Covenant and build a house for God in Jerusalem. That is the reason why he went to get the Ark. But in trying to go get the ark, he got the wrong people. Okay, Uzzah was a Levite, but he's not of the right kind. Okay, Ahio, his brother, again a Levite, but not the right kind. So they were not the people that are supposed to be carrying the ark. Not only that, remember now, David is a military person. Okay, so what did he do that we read? He got 30,000 soldiers. What is 30,000 soldiers going to do with one ark? Okay, 30,000 soldiers to go get the ark. Okay, and where did they put the ark? Instead of carrying the ark, they decided to do it like the Philistines did, because the Philistines didn't know anything about it, so they put it on a cart with the oxen pulling it. Okay, so they did the same thing. They got the cart, they were making all the noise and all that, and then they put it on this cart, and they put the oxen in front, and they were basically joyously going and marching towards Jerusalem. I think from what I read is about like a day's journey anyway. It's not something that is going to take forever. Right? So on the way, as they were going, they got to a particular threshing floor. And when they got there, okay, the oxen stumbled. We don't know why the oxen stumbled, but I'm going to tell you my theory, okay? All right. So, and then at that particular point, of course, Uzzah decided to help God. And he touched the ark. And you know what happened? Again, if God tells you not to do something and you do it, it doesn't matter who you are, you get the punishment right away. And he died on the spot. Lesson from that, and this is one point I want to emphasize today, is this. We read a lot of things in the Bible that says, don't do this, don't do that, don't do the other, right? And we kind of, sometimes we obey, sometimes we don't. Or people say, the Bible says there is hell, okay? And people say, no, there is no hell and all that. The things that we see in the Bible are not things that we should be playing with. This is a good example of that says, okay, don't touch. You are not supposed to touch this ark. It doesn't matter who you are. If you touch it, you're going to die. That's what the Bible says. So God is not going to change his mind because you are whatever. You are the son of the high priest, or you're the son of the governor, or whatever. It doesn't matter who you are. When God says, this is what I'm going to do, that is what he's going to do. So the lesson for us today is the fact that let us not take the word of God very lightly. Whatever he says, he means it. He's not the author of chaos. He's the author of order. And if he says, don't do something, don't do it. That's basically what that is saying. And one of the Bible verses that comes to mind when you talk about that is Hosea 4:6 that says, my people are destroyed for lack of knowledge, but because they have rejected knowledge. Okay, so let us not reject knowledge. Okay, let us take the knowledge of God that we know about and use it for our own good. And the sad part, if you continue reading that Hosea 4:6, it says, I also will reject you for being praised for me, because you have forgotten the law of your God. I will also forget your children. So it's not just only affect our own generation, we could also have impact on our children. So in which case, when we ignore what God is telling us, when we become disobedient to God, we're also not affecting ourselves, but we're also affecting the future generation. That's the message that I want to make sure we understand. That, again, this ark, okay, specific rules that says, hey, these are the things that you need to do. Okay, just like we read today, these are the way we need to conduct our lives. If you're not going to do that, that's fine. But remember now, what you're doing is not just going to affect you, it's going to affect your future generation also. So it's up to each and every one of us to decide exactly how we're going to take that. Anyway, so as they got to that place where the ark stumbled down and the person died, okay, my theory about the ark stumbling was the fact that God has a way of moving things. God has a way of influencing events. Even though they were planning this, and that's what I'm saying, even though they were planning this for moving the ark, but they were doing it the wrong way. Even though it was being done the wrong way, God is going to use it to bless somebody, okay? God is going to use that incident that has nothing to do with this person now that has been serving God on the side. God is going to use that incident to bless him. So when they get there, that place where the oxen stumble is not too far from the house of Obed-Edom. Okay, so you can know that it's a setup. It's a setup for this guy to be blessed. It's a setup for this person that has been serving God for a long time to be blessed. The light, again, like the pastor will say, you never know your day of showing, but you have to be ready. And the fact that this guy has been serving God for so long that it is now his time has come. His time has come, and this incident that has nothing to do with him was now going to be the incident that God is going to use to bless him. So anyway, when that happens, of course, we read about what David said. Okay, David said that I can't move this. I can't move this anymore. Right. I don't know what to do. And he became angry with God, okay? And that's another thing that David did that we should make sure that we don't do, right? Get angry with God doesn't help you, okay? So you're just wasting your time, so to speak. So anyway, so he got angry with God, and then he decided at that particular point that he's not going to go any further. So one point that I wanted to make about the oxen, there's a particular verse that I wanted to read, and the verse is in Isaiah 1:2-3. Isaiah 1:2-3 that says, "Hear, O heavens, and give ear, O earth, for the Lord has spoken. I have nourished and brought up children, and they have rebelled against me. The ox knows its owner, the donkey its master's crib. But Israel does not know, my people do not consider." So just like God was able to use a donkey, there was a prophet that was going to go prophesy against the Israelites when they were coming out of the wilderness. And the donkey actually talked to his master to say, "Why are you beating me?" Okay. This is one of those fascinating stories in the Bible. I just love these stories. Okay. But what this is saying is the fact that the oxen knew something when they got to that point that nobody knew. Well, no, the Bible didn't say why the donkey stumbled, but my theory would be that he saw something. The donkey saw something at that particular, the oxen saw something at that particular point that made him say, "No, I'm going to stop," okay? And for that particular reason, he stumbled, and that is what created the incident whereby Uzzah thought he was going to help God, okay? Now, we also do that too, right? We try to help God, we try to cover for God as if God needs our help. Okay, it's not like the ark was falling down or getting to the ground. It's just that it moved in such a way that he thought he should help. Not only that, the ark has handles. That's what they're for, right? You can hold the handle but not touch the ark itself. So the whole idea is the fact that, again, there are instructions that God has given us. Okay, it is very important that we follow those instructions. Okay. There are things that happen in our lives that we have no control over. In this particular case, nobody knew why the oxen stumbled. But because the oxen stumbled now, somebody did something that they're not supposed to do. You probably wonder, why did he touch the ark? It could be that, well, he's seen the ark in his house. He's been sitting there for 20 years or so. And he felt, well, what's the big deal? It was in my house. I see it every day, but they don't respect it. Or because we also say familiarity brings contempt. Okay, you've seen something for so long, you've come to church for so long, you know the routine, well, we're going to sing 4 slow songs or 2 slow songs, okay, and then we'll do welcome, we'll do this. You become so familiar with it that it doesn't mean anything to you anymore, okay? That's also another danger that we need to watch out for, that we become so familiar with everything that we do in church that we don't really put any more emphasis, any more. There is no. You're not looking forward to. There is nothing happening inside. That's what I'm trying to say. The joy of the Lord, the feeling for God. All that is gone now. We're just doing a show, okay? Which is basically what David is also doing, because at God, had it been that it was being considerate of what God wanted, he would have done his research before going to do it the way he did it. So in essence, what he's saying is the fact that I'll do it my way, I'll do it the way I want to do it. God, you have to bless it. And God is saying, no, I'm not going to bless your mess. Again, we do the same thing, okay? We make your plans, we look at it and say, God bless it, God bless it, God bless it. Well, we didn't ask God to say, what do you want me to do, okay? And since she didn't do that, and now you go do whatever you're going to do, and it blows up in your face and say, just like David did, and say, why didn't you help me, God? Okay, why didn't you do something, okay? Okay. And God says, okay, did I tell you to go do what you did? And what would you say? No, okay. So all this is like, all this is an example of the things that we need to to watch out for. Anyway, watch out for. And one of the other things I also want to point out about David, I mean, we know that David is a man of God's own heart, okay? But David also has something called pride, okay? And that begins to show as he became king, because he became king over all of Israel at the age of 30. Consider that. He was the king over everything at the age of 30. So he was actually made, pronounced, baptized, anointed king when he was around maybe 15, 16. So for the next 14, 15 years or so, he's been running from one place to another, fighting a war, being a mercenary, and all the other stuff to be able to survive. But eventually all that came to an end and became king. And now he's got everything, okay? and you know how it is when you got everything. You start like Nebuchadnezzar that we read about. Once in a while, you look out the window and say, this is all mine? Am I this good? Okay. That's another thing we need to watch out for. That's the reason why the Bible says, rejoice in the Lord always. Whether things are good, whether things are bad, keep that focus on God. Keep that focus on God. Anyway, the oxen stumbled, and then, of course, David couldn't go any further, so he said, okay, I'm going to have to go put it somewhere. And like I said, in my opinion, it's a setup. The only place he went to was the right house. He went to the right house of somebody that is qualified to hold the ark. And he knocked on the door and said, okay, well, I've got this problem. Can you help me? Now, let's be realistic now. If it's you, what would you do? Okay, you just heard that somebody touched this ark and they died immediately. It's not like they were sick for 2 days or immediately fire came down, dead. Would you accept it? Okay. Would you accept something like that? So you had the commotion. You were asking what happened, and they told you this guy just. Actually, they said it was more graphic than that, but in terms of what happened, is like when fire from heaven knocking, it's like lightning came down and boom, like an explosion, right? The guy was disintegrated. I'm trying to. Okay, but anyway, would you take it? Would you take the ark into your house? Okay. Most people would probably, if we're being honest, will probably say no way, like, okay. But like I said, it's a setup. This guy said, yes, I'll take it. Okay. And he took the ark into his house. And not only that, they also said that part of the rabbinical writing said that twice a day he would light candles and worship. Okay. Twice a day, every day, with his family. So even before getting the ark, it was something that in him that was constantly serving God, constantly loving God. So this was an opportunity for him, from his perspective, to show God that he really cares. He wants to be somebody that will serve God. And God has a need now. God has a need for somebody to hold this thing for a while. Why not my house? That is his response. And as a result of that, within 3 months, the whole of Israel heard about this guy. Somebody that was totally unknown, totally, completely unknown. Within 3 months, the whole of Israel was talking about this guy. Okay? Wouldn't you like that to be you? Okay? That God will do something for you that everybody will be talking about. That within a period of 3 months, your life is totally, completely changed. Okay? Now, it goes back to having that relationship. It goes back to what you've been doing in your closet. It goes back to all the things that people don't know about that you do, that is going to make the light of God shine upon you eventually. God has got his own timing. God has got time for every one of us. God has got his own timing. The question is, are we willing to wait like he did? Are we willing to wait for God and not get beyond God, or not become proud that we're going to be getting angry at God and saying, why not now, God? Why not do it for me yesterday? Okay? And that's the danger that, like I said, that we all run into, and we need to watch out for that, because that in essence is also a form of pride. One of the other things I also want to point out is the fact that when David couldn't move the ark the first time, he came back the second time to come back and finally get the ark, because now everybody's talking about this guy, Obed-Edom, okay, is blessed by God. The Bible didn't say I was blessed. One of the things that the Bible talks about is the fact that he's got 8 kids, okay, and they all eventually served the Lord. And in actual fact, when David came back the second time and he did it the right way, and one of the things he did the second time that was very amazing to me was the fact that, and we read a little bit about that in the Bible reading, was the fact that every 6 steps, okay, they will stop. They will worship God. They will slaughter something. All that blood, right? Okay. And then they'll go again and dance and dance and dance. And that's when David was dancing with all his strength, okay? And then the end result was the fact that, well, that's another story. I'm not going to mention that. But anyway, he was dancing with all his strength, okay? Worshipping God, and then they will stop. They'll do another sacrifice. And they'll go dancing again and keep going and keep going. The point, though, is that in terms of what the portion that Obed-Edom played in this role was the fact that after they got the ark to Jerusalem, David needed people to sing and dance, to sing, to watch the ark and all that. And Obed-Edom decided to move with the ark to Jerusalem, and he became one of the people that was part of the worship team to be able to do all the things that David wanted to do. The bottom line of what I'm trying to say is this, okay? Nothing we do for God is wasted, okay? Everything you do for God is not wasted. God knows what you're doing. God knows what you're going through. God can bless you tomorrow, okay? God can decide to bless you 6 months from now. But we all have to wait on God. We all have to wait for His timing. We don't know His timing. But whatever we're doing for God, let's not take it for granted. Let's not make it mundane. Let's put some effort into it, some diligence into it. So that, we are basically showing God that we appreciate what He's doing for us. He's a faithful God. And at the same time, okay, but by doing all that, we stand in that, we have in that connection. That connection is constantly going. Okay. And one of the other things that it mentioned about Obed-Edom was the fact that if you look at his lineage, I think he had about 68 relatives, okay, that became followers of Christ. So not only was he influencing his family, was also influencing the future generation and also his relatives at the same time. So he left a legacy of serving God and also teaching other people or blessing other people to serve God. So he became blessed, and he also became a blessing. So on that note, let us use this example of Obed-Edom, of waiting on God, serving God continuously, and knowing that God is faithful. And one of these days, when we least expect it, you never know what the incident is going to be. You never know what is going to happen. But God is faithful. God is going to bless us. Let us pray.